Good evening. It's October here in southeast Spain, and as you can see, I've had to dress up a little against the cold. Well, that's probably a bit unfair to my friends and family in the UK, who are probably feeling a little bit of a cold at the moment. But it is nevertheless October, and whilst it isn't cold here in Spain, my thoughts always turn to red wine round about this time of year. Now, there seems to have been a lot of social media activity at the moment about a new company which has come about, which is actually called Paladir Español, the Spanish palate. A lot of action going on, so I thought, well, I might as well get a piece of the action as well. I wrote to founder Nicola, who was very kind to send me some samples, and I've tasted them all now, and this is the final one I've got to. And I'd like to tell you a little bit about the wines from Rompesedas, and this is the Finca Las Parvas. Rompesedas, Finca Las Parvas. Parvas, I beg your pardon. It comes from Denominación de Origen Toro. That's over to the west, north, not as far as Galicia, of course, but it's quite a way north and certainly a long way further west than I'm situated at the moment. When the wine travelled from that area, of course, I was careful to make sure that after it arrived, I gave it some time to rest after its journey, because we don't want to taste a wine which is suffering from bottle shock. Yes, I know, bottle shock. But it's true. Anyway, I brought it out of my wine chiller, and I have to say that I'm delighted with it, like I have been with the rest of the portfolio of this particular bodega. All the bodegas with which Paladar Español, or Spanish Palate Company, deal with are always boutique bodegas who are concentrating on making quality wines which are always going to give some sort of idea of their terroir, the soil, but not just the soil, in which the vines have been growing. This is the all-encompassing French word, terroir, which tells us and encompasses everything that has affected the vines once it's been in the soil in the area of production. So the soil, of course, is very relevant, but also the microclimate of that particular vineyard, the sunshine, the rain, everything you can possibly think of to do with the natural elements, which are all what we call of as terroir. Now, this wine is made with 100% Tinta de Toro. Tinta de Toro. This is another name, it's an alias, I suppose you could say, for Tempranillo. Of course, that's the Spanish noble grape variety. It has a number of different grape varieties, as I said before on these DVDs. One of them is Tinta de Toro. And it's an outstanding quality wine. It's made from a single vineyard wine, which tells us something for a start. It's a singular wine itself. It's actually from the 2007 vintage. It doesn't say that on the label. It doesn't say that on the notes that Nicola sent me either, but it's a simple mathematical equation to work it out. It does say that this was bottled in 2009. Well, it also has had 24 months, give or take, in French oak barrels. And so take away 2 years, 24 months from 2009, and you get to 2007. 2007 vintage. Those oak barrels are interesting. They're 500 litres, and they were new barrels as well. Now, 500 litre barrels are going to give you less of an oak influence than a smaller 225 litre barrel, which is the common thing, of course, because if it actually has a greater volume of wine, then clearly there's going to be less influence in the oak that surrounds it. Nevertheless, there is an oak influence, and that gives us a little bit of the cinnamon, a little bit of the vanilla flavour to this particular wine, but it is nothing like a woody wine at all, or an oaky wine at all, because the thing that comes to the fore here is fruit, pure and gorgeous fruit. So, the wine, as I've said before, is Rompesedas. It's Finca Las Parvas, and it is a singular wine because it's come from this single vineyard, and it is probably the flagship wine of this particular bodega. It's a chewy wine, it's juicy, which tells us something of its fruitiness. But what about those fruits? Well, they're dark berries, I would say particularly blackberry. And I have to say that when I opened the bottle, probably half an hour before, to give this a chance to breathe, 2009 it was placed in the bottle, that's some years ago now, I wanted to give it a chance to breathe so it was at its best. And suddenly, the whole of the area where I'm making this video at the moment was full of this delightful, fruity and slightly cinnamon vanilla aroma as well, which I really delighted in. It's got some toasty notes, and the vines are growing in alluvial soil. Basically, it's quite sandy there, so the vines have got to go a long way downwards in order for them to get their nutrients. When they go to get those nutrients, the sand is actually formed on top of a bedrock, and this bedrock is what's giving this particular wine some mineral aspect to it as well. I wouldn't be surprised at all if the vineyards and the whole area, there are quite a lot of wild herbs. I'm thinking of rosemary and maybe some wild thyme and a little bit of bay leaf as well, because all of this contributes to the flavour of the wine. Look, I said it's a wine which reflects its terroir, and that is exactly what Rompesedas, Finca Las Parvas does. I'd get hold of some if I were you.